Anyone who has ever trained for a long-distance race knows the sensation. Somewhere around mile 20, legs that worked perfectly fine a few minutes ago suddenly feel like they belong to someone else. The body abruptly and aggressively stops cooperating with what the mind is asking it to do. The standard, widely accepted explanation for this crash is straightforward mechanical failure. The body stores carbohydrates as fuel, the runner burns through those reserves over the course of a few hours, the tank hits empty, and the muscles simply stop working. But recent studies monitoring the electrical brain activity of marathon runners reveal an anomaly in that sequence. The data shows their brain activity shifting and adjusting effort as early as mile 6, hours before those physical fuel tanks actually run dry. What we experience at mile 20 is a complex, largely subconscious negotiation. The body continuously evaluates its physical reserves, and a protective brain steps in to forcefully reduce output, forcing the runner to struggle to maintain form. Recognizing this negotiation changes how we look at endurance entirely. The human body does not passively shut down when it gets tired. It deploys an active, intelligent defense mechanism to protect itself from pushing past a fatal threshold. To understand what the brain is protecting against, we have to look at the physical engine. The body's fast-access fuel is glycogen, a form of carbohydrate stored primarily in the muscles and the liver. This graph shows the harsh mathematical problem of human endurance. A moderately trained runner only stores enough glycogen to sustain 90 to 120 minutes of hard aerobic effort, but an average recreational marathon takes 3 to 5 hours or more to finish. Once that initial glycogen supply depletes, the body is forced to pivot to a backup source, shifting to burning fat for fuel. We carry an enormous reserve of fat, but breaking it down into usable energy is a metabolically slow process. It cannot convert fat into fuel fast enough to match the high energy demands of a runner's race pace. The working muscles demand energy immediately, and the fat conversion process delivers it slowly. That severe mismatch between demand and delivery speed is the physical reality behind the crash. In the mid-1990s, an exercise physiologist named Tim Noakes argued that this empty tank model was missing a crucial variable. He proposed the central governor theory. In this framework, the brain continuously monitors the body's status and preemptively throttles muscle performance, intentionally creating the sensation of fatigue to prevent catastrophic organ damage. Real-world EEG readings from marathons support this. Well, before glycogen drops into dangerous territory, sometimes as early as kilometer 10, the brain is already adjusting a runner's effort. This intervention happens completely beneath conscious awareness, while the runner still feels perfectly fine. If you're enjoying our exploration of these limits, take a second to subscribe. Today is day 146, the halfway breather in our The Line We Can't Uncross arc, and we have 5 more thresholds to cross this week. Under Noakes' theory, the agonizing, heavy-legged sensation of hitting the wall is an evolutionary success. The brain is successfully pulling the emergency brake, prioritizing survival over speed. Sports science hasn't declared a definitive winner between the mechanical engine failure and the protective brain, because the data clearly shows both mechanisms operating at the same time. The brain's early, subconscious effort throttling eventually layers directly on top of the undeniable late-stage physical crisis of genuine glycogen depletion, and every year, millions of people willingly line up to trigger this exact biological collision in themselves. For the everyday runner, the wall is the inevitable, brutal moment where the brain's screaming protective warnings and the body's absolute metabolic limits finally crash into each other. Navigating this two-system reality requires treating physical pacing and mental framing as intertwined tools rather than separate disciplines. Conservative early pacing specifically protects the physical glycogen engine for the later miles. At the same time, deliberate mental preparation allows a runner to negotiate directly with the central governor's pain signals when they inevitably arrive. We've spent the last 5 days looking at dying stars, collapsing ecosystems, and financial ruin. Those are physical and mathematical lines that offer no path back once crossed. But the physical wall at mile 20 is a temporary boundary. It is a threshold that is routinely survived, recovered from, and willingly challenged again. Enjoy today's breather. Tomorrow, we return to lines with zero room for error. Day 147, and the exact calculated speed during an airplane's takeoff, where a pilot is completely committed to flying, no matter what happens next.
Thank you for sharing this moment of pure wonder. You are the true magic that fuels this journey. Until next time, remember to shine bright